All right, what's going on today, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite cyclist YouTube channel. This week, we're not looking at bikes, we're looking at a bike rack out on my Mustang. But before we get into today's video, if you are new to my channel, make sure you head down below, hit that subscribe button for me. If you already are subscribed, make sure you hit that bell icon right next to that. That way you get notified every time I upload. That way you don't miss any of this awesome cycling content on this channel. So like I said, today we're looking at a bike rack that I have installed on my Mustang. So let's head outside, let's go take a look at it. All right, so here's the rack right here. So this is a 2-bike hitch rack from the guys over at JOYTUTUS. It's kind of a different style rack. It's kind of how I can say this. It's simple in the fact that obviously it's a 2-bike hitch rack. This one does have the ability to either run a 2-inch receiver or an 1.25 inch, which is kind of nice. Something I look for in bike racks because I'm always looking for nice bike racks to run on the back of my car, which has an 1.25 inch. Us 1.25 inch guys are out there, bike rack guys, make some 1.25 inch bike racks. So has that there, 100-pound capacity, so you can carry 2 decently sized bikes, decently heavy bikes on the back of this, no problems at all. And it folds up into a pretty compact kind of storage system here. So it's really kind of neat how this thing works. Really kind of cool. As you can tell, it's got a very small footprint. It really shrinks in and kind of makes itself small, which is something a lot of bike racks don't do. They kind of make themselves really big. So assembly on this bike rack, it was incredibly easy to assemble this bike rack. Essentially the only thing you have to install is this hoop right here, which holds onto the frame of the bike. That's all you have to install is the hoop and then the clamps that go onto the hoop, which is ridiculously simple. Everything else was assembled right out of the box, making it really, really easy to put together. Installing it in the hitch, it's kind of got a different installation method than I've seen ever, realistically. So it's got an anti-rattle mechanism built into it, and then instead of a hitch pin, it's kind of got a hook is what it has. It pretty much hooks into the hole where your hitch pin would go, and so that's kind of almost your safety lever, I would say. Really, the big thing that holds this rack in is that anti-rattle mechanism. That pretty much has a wedge that shoves itself into the rack and holds it in place. And I can say from the while I've had this bike rack on my car, it's something I don't notice. I don't notice it rattling around a whole bunch. I don't notice it moving. It obviously hasn't fallen out, anything like that. So that's kind of the main thing that holds it in is that anti-rattle mechanism. And then the little kind of hook that goes into the hole is more of a kind of safety thing. If the rack happened to come loose, that hook is going to catch it before it comes off. So a little bit different than I've seen in the past, but hey, it works. It works pretty well as I've seen. So this rack has a couple kind of cool features on there. So first off, fully lockable. So you want to lock this thing to your vehicle. It comes with a padlock here that you can slide into these holes right here, and this pretty much blocks the opening for the Allen key to loosen this guy up. So you put that in there, no one's getting an Allen key in there to loosen your rack up. So it is pretty much locked to the vehicle. In my case, I don't run this just because this would then be the lowest part on the rack and it would get beat up pretty bad. Also, most people don't carry an Allen wrench and feel like unscrewing that guy from my car. I'm okay with that. Comes with the adapter, of course, for the 2-inch, because of all the tools you need. Everything is included with this rack. There's nothing you need outside of the box that you don't get. So this rack is a folding rack, so it folds up against the back of the vehicle. Really easy to use. Probably one of the easiest racks I've seen to unfold. So right over here on the passenger side, there's a red lever. You pull that lever down, and that's going to loosen this rack up, and pretty much you can just drop it, and it will lock into place in the down position. Once it's in that down position, there's just a lever on each side here that just screws in. You're just going to unscrew those guys. And once you unscrew those guys, this arm is going to come up. That hoop really is what it is. And you just tighten those right back up. And there's your rack kind of put together. So with this guy, it is fully adjustable for a wheelbase. Something that's a little bit different than I've seen on other racks. So as you can tell, the kind of the platforms your tire would go on, they're kind of really small right now, right? They're kind of stuck in. So underneath each of these, there's a nice little, there's wing nuts. There's 2 of them. You undo both those wing nuts, and then you can slide this tray out to wherever you need it for your particular bike. So we can go all the way out here. Do the same back here. And you can put these out. Like I said, totally depends on your bike, where you want to put them at, where you want to tighten them at. In our case, we're going to go all the way out because, you know, we have adult bikes, right? So you kind of got those. You got your kind of basic ratchet straps right here. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Over this side, I'll loosen these guys up. And there you have it. You have your rack set up, ready to take a bike on there. Really simple to do. So we'll pop all these straps off here. There we are. Pop the straps off. And then up here, for our clamps, it comes with 2 clamps. Obviously, one for each side. You can kind of put them wherever on the bike feels fit. You can rotate them. You can twist this clamp around. Whatever you need to put it. Pretty easy to move it where you need to put it. And these guys are lockable here, which is kind of neat to be able to lock your bike onto the rack. You know, all built into the rack here. So you just pop this little cover off. Got a keyhole there. Comes with a key. Gonna put the key in there. Turn that 180 degrees. And that's going to unlock that clamp, and you just unscrew it from there. And these are kind of an interesting clamp, realistically. So they're kind of tied together. The part that clamps onto the rack and the part that clamps onto your frame. So, which if you close this down, it opens the clamp on the hoop. And then you let go of that one, it opens the clamp here. So pretty much as you tighten your bike onto the rack, it pretty much clamps this tighter and tighter, making sure it doesn't come off. Kind of neat. Kind of neat design. A little bit different. A little bit different than I've seen before. Makes them really easy to move around kind of wherever you need them to, though. So, unlock this one, too, while we're here. There we go. All right. That one's for the back. Cool. Let's grab a bike. Let's throw it on here. Installing a bike on here, super simple. Just going to make sure your chain rings are facing out. So in this case, the handlebars are going to be on the driver's side for the bike on the rear. We're just going to lift this guy up. Put it right onto our rack. There we go. Just like so. We're going to grab our clamp for the inside. Again, we just kind of got to find where seems to work good for it. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. And then from there, we just go ahead and tighten this clamp down. Nice and rubber coated on the jaws, so it shouldn't scratch your bike at all. You're going up that till it's nice and tight. Just like so. All right. Shouldn't go anywhere. And then from there, it's just putting these little straps through your wheels. There we are. Send it right on down. There's the rear wheel. Same deal with the front. All right. One bike on there. And then we want to lock it on. Just get our key. Put it right into there and turn it 180 degrees the other way. Yeah. So there's one bike on there. Go ahead and grab another bike. Let's throw it on the other side. All right. So again, chain ring on the outside. So handlebars the opposite way on this one. And this one, you can go right up to the top tube. That's where that one feels really good right there. All right. Once we have that, so you can actually see, this one's a hair shorter. So we're just going to go ahead down here, loosen up our tray. We're just going to kick our tray up. So it kind of lines up right about there, right about the middle of the tire. That should be pretty good. There we go. Send our strap through. Same thing on the front. The front actually looks pretty good. It's a little shorter on the back, it looks like. Probably could have centered it a little better, but I'm okay with this. There we go. Got two bikes installed on the rack. So this rack does have a really cool feature to it. So say you just put your bikes on and now you need to get something in the trunk. You forgot to put your helmet in the trunk or something like that. And you need to get in there, but you can't for some reason. Like you can't access it. It's a hatch. Anything kind of along those lines. Normally you have to unload it or load it in some, put your helmet in some other way. Pain in the butt kind of stuff. So what this guy has is a nice little lever right here. Black arm. You pull that arm down. That disengages the rack. And you can fully lay that rack down. Like so. Have full access to the trunk of your vehicle, the hatch of your vehicle. Everything is to stay right where it is. Pretty cool. And then once you're ready to go, once you have everything there, you just grab onto your bike, push that thing up, and it will latch right back into place. Kind of neat, right? You don't got to worry about it. Again, this is one little lever. It's a big old pin that goes in and holds that in place. Pull it back, get a hand on the bike, and nicely set her down. So they say this rack can fit up to a 53-inch wheelbase and up to a 2.3-inch wide tire. Well, these are 2.4s on my mountain bike, and they seem to fit perfectly fine. I would say it could probably go a little wider. Maybe even a 2.8 is kind of where I would kind of draw the line on this guy. It is made for skinnier tires, not fat bikes for this rack. So you kind of put whatever you need to on here within those parameters, and it should fit. Obviously, it's going to depend on where you put the bikes at, how close they're going to be to each other. And that's part of the removing of the trays here. If they're kind of too close to touching in one spot, you can move the trays, slide the bike back a little bit forward, kind of get it positioned just right. In this case, you can see we have the mountain bike, we have the arm pretty much horizontally, kind of pushing it a little bit farther away from the hoop. And then on the gravel bike, we have it pretty much vertically, kind of mounting up to the bar. So we have it kind of mounted in multiple ways here. Just showing that, yeah, you can mount it different ways. It just depends on the bike, depends on your setup, how you kind of want to make everything work. But everything fits on here, no problem at all. Like I said, you have full access to a trunk. Kind of nice to see how this thing works. So I think it's time now. Let's throw a camera on the car. Let's take these for a quick drive. See how they handle on the road. Of course, we're not going to hit any off-road because this is my Mustang here. It's a road car, so let's go ahead and hit the road. See how it handles. And then we'll come back, take these bikes off, show you how easy that is, and then we'll close this out, let you know what I think of this rack. All right, back from the test drive. It looks like everything seemed to work pretty good. We'll talk a little more in a second here. But right now, we need to get these off. So, with these guys, should just be a push. There we go. You just push them in. Straps pop out. Just like that. Same thing back here. Make sure you do the straps before you do the frame clamp. We're going to get our key out, unlock our clamps. That guy unlocked. Loosen up our clamps. Again, you probably want to keep a hand on your bike, because it will try and roll away from you. There we go. All right. Pop that guy off. There's one bike. Got to do the same deal. We're going to go ahead and unlock this while we're up here. Pop our straps out. And then just loosen our clamp up. All right, once you have that, just lift your bike on out. All right, there we go. Got both bikes off. From there, it's kind of just putting everything back. There we are. And then we're ready to just fold it back up. Once we're done using it, you just undo these two knobs. There we go. Sure, loose enough. There we are. Flip that guy down and just tighten them back up. Those are tight, and then red lever, push it down, locks back in place. It's all stored up against your vehicle, nice and small. And if you want it to be a little bit more compact, you can screw these guys in, or you can just leave them out. Really kind of up to you what you do with them from there. Just like that, you got it all folded up in a super secure, narrow form there, ready to get transported on the back of your vehicle. All right, so now you got it all folded up. We just got to take this thing off, and it's the same process installing or removing. I'm going to show you guys removing. So we get our Allen key included in the kit, and we're just going to unscrew this bolt here. All right, once that's loose, you just pull our pin out here, and the rack should just come right off. Just like so. All right, so here you can see how that wedge and pin work here. Essentially, you got your Allen key that goes in here, tightens this big long bolt up, and pulls this wedge into itself and kind of snugs the thing in place super tight. Then you have your little hook here, which then is just going to pop through the hitch, through your receiver, and into here, kind of acting as a safety catch, I guess you could say. This really isn't holding most of it. This is holding most of your weight on there. But once you have that done, like I said, it has wheels. Gotta fold that up. There we are. Now you can roll it around. And you can just grab your cart, roll it wherever you need it to go, store it up nice and small, nice and secure, and you're set to go. All right, so what do we think of the JOYTUTUS 2-bike rack here? I think it does a pretty good job for the price. And for the price, that's not bad. You do get it in this super compact form here, so you can store it really easy on your vehicle or off your vehicle. It's not taking up a ton of space. It's also really easy to roll around and remove because, you know, you have these nice wheels down here. So once it's off the vehicle, it just rolls around wherever you need it to go. You don't really have to pick it up much, if at all, depending on your vehicle. So it's kind of nice that it has those features there. being in the 30-pound range, yeah, it's not the heaviest rack to go with that either. So it's kind of good with that. There's a couple things I didn't like about it. One of those was the kind of the trays your tires go into. One of the things I've noticed on other bike racks that I've really liked was they either have grooves built into the trays or something for the strap to push the tire against and kind of keep it locked in. Even for a smaller tire, my gravel tire is not that small, but a skinnier tire as well. And that's one of the things I noticed while driving around was, especially the gravel bike, the handlebars were swinging side to side pretty violently. And with the handlebar swinging like that, I know the tire's swinging pretty good too. And so that's one thing I kind of wish they had in there, was some way to better secure the tire all the way in. Obviously, the mountain bike didn't move at all. It kind of has its own tread built in. It's big enough that it kind of holds itself in place and has a little more weight to it. But for a smaller tire bike, you may have to figure something out there with the tire swinging around. The tire clamps, they work pretty good. I wish there was something on them that said, okay, you're tight now, or you're tight enough now. Because as a bike mechanic, it is possible to crunch your frame. Not super common, but if you have like a carbon bike or something like that, you got to be really careful with these clamps just so you don't over tighten them. There's nothing really saying this is tight enough, because essentially the one clamp controls this clamp. So if this isn't tight enough, then this isn't tight enough. So, you know, there's that kind of whole thing there with the clamps. I do like the clamps because it's kind of a different approach, different look, different style. And they seem to work pretty good for kind of whatever you want to throw on here. I mean, you could technically put them all the way down here on the sides if you wanted to put them on the sides. So you have a very wide option. You have a lot of options for mounting your bike with these clamps. Other than that, durability-wise, I mean, it's a decent quality rack. It has a lot of strong components. However, it has some weak points on it that are kind of in interesting spots where they're weak. And that's kind of these end caps on the rack here. So these end caps are really the weak point. They're plastic. They hang off quite a bit being plastic. And one of them was already broken out of the box. It was already kind of crumbled up and like shattered. And I just broke another one just backing into the driveway. So yeah, I mean, those are kind of my downfalls there. I wish they did something a little bit different with these plastic end caps. And yeah, because yeah, they're a little brittle. Rubber maybe? Rubber cap? Something like that. This plastic isn't really working for that. Ultimately, pretty cool rack. Very different. I would probably use this for like a small SUV is what I would use this for. A small SUV with an 1.25 inch hitch. That's where I would end up using this rack. This hoop is a little high for like a sedan. You can get by with it. I mean, it's just above my spoiler, but you can definitely see it inside of the vehicle. So that is one thing that I would be aware of with a smaller car. Depends on the car, of course, but smaller car, probably be aware of that. But anything like 1.25 inch, this is a really nice rack to use for it, just because it's fully adjustable for whatever you got. It's lockable all on the rack itself. You don't have to bring a separate lock cable or anything like that. It's kind of nice. Kind of nice. Easy removable too for a car or a small SUV when you don't need it all the time. You just want to roll it out of the way, roll it to a corner of your garage and just store it there. Easy, easy, easy. So if you guys are interested in checking out this JOYTUTUS 2-bike rack here, there's going to be a link in the description down below. Big thanks to them for sending a different style rack out than I've seen before and letting me test it out, see what I thought, and share it with you guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, or maybe you thought it was entertaining, give this video a big thumbs up. Appreciate the support. Any comments or questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Love talking to you guys. Love answering questions you guys have. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching today.